He told me some things that were alarming to me, so I drove over to her house on the way to get the haircut. I forgot about the haircut, and I confronted her about that.
Wait, God in heaven, you can't just gloss over that.
Dude, our minds are racing right now.
Wait,
I know about this.
I was just gonna say, Dylan has to know because you didn't bat an eyelash.
Well, no, I know Cody too well. I'm not surprised by anything he says anymore. It's not like, what? I'm like, it's Cody. It's just, everything's a surprise.
Wait, so you're... Jeez Louise.
So this isn't going to be a fun subject, but we're going to talk about breakups and our past breakups, how it made
Our future
us feel.
breakups.
Our future... I pointed at thee.
That took all the
Notice I
energy
pointed at you
had.
three and not Joel. Joel's gonna make it.
Joel made it. For context, there's 5 of us here, and 4 of us are in very serious relationships. 2 of us are married. I'm engaged. Cody's been in a long-term relationship. Josh is the only one that is single currently.
Yeah, to be fair, there it is.
Jeez, okay. A little late on cue.
Got that up.
But we've all been in other serious relationships. We all know those previous ladies that we all dated.
And
men. You want to tell us something, Cody, that we don't know about?
you know about it.
We love you anyway.
You were there.
I made you
You
watch.
know about it. You're talking. This is a safe place.
Yeah.
I know it's not.
So when it comes to breakups, obviously they suck, but there's reasons why we do them. So I guess like the main question that I always thought about when you always reflect back on the relationship that you had with the old I don't know where I'm going with this.
Ball and chain.
Yeah, whatever.
The old bag.
Yeah, the old mistake.
Joel dated a lot of bags.
No, the main question is just the relationship obviously ended, and if you dated, and I think most of us all were in relationships that lasted for, about a year or so. Why did it take us so long to realize that it wasn't going to work out? Like, what was the kicker? I mean, like, how long do you really need to date someone before you realize, yeah, this isn't going to work out long term? We're all guilty of it. We've all probably dated someone longer than we should have, but why did it take so long?
It depends on who's listening.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's like who immediately, like, if you're dating someone and the second you hit the 6-month period and you get an inkling, like I'm probably not gonna marry this person.
I call that diarrhea.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna marry this person and spend the rest of my life with them. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna break up with them right this second. Like, you're in the middle of having a great date or something like that. Like, I don't think that, like, usually a relationship kind of fizzles and takes time to.
It takes time to kind of mold it, right?
Come to a head.
It's also, I mean, the honeymoon phase is a very real thing.
It is.
So you look over a lot of flaws and stuff that may bug you down the line, but even 6 months, I mean, you're still kind of in that phase where if you had been dating for a year and a half, that same thing that she or he did, it would probably be like, oh, this might be a deal breaker for me.
Well, and to Dylan's question, like, technically, when you do realize that is when you should be like, hey, I don't think this is gonna like last the long. It's not. We're not gonna really make it through the long haul.
Right.
So like, I should cut it off. Like, I guess the question is like, why do we keep going even after the point you should cut it off?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Money.
Well, there's security, which comes with money. I think it's an old joke about, like, I can't just break up with them because my stuff is in his car or something like that. I just can't do that, whatever.
his car.
Yeah, or whatever.
Interesting.
Don't matter to me.
Freudian slip.
Yeah.
It's. I think more often than not, it comes down to it's just don't want to rock the boat, like momentum. Like I could have a really difficult conversation that ends up in a lot of turmoil and tears and maybe yelling, and then we're gonna have to, if we're living together, like figure that out. Or I could just have a nice dinner and watch a movie.
Yeah, and just kind of forget.
Yeah, and think about it tomorrow.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. No, what?
Josh, the relationship therapist.
Just prove my point.
Just said everything you need to say.
Path of least resistance.
No, that really is like, if you're being honest about it, that's usually, if you've ever been in that situation, that's why. It's just a horrible thing to go through, and it's really easy to put it off to tomorrow.
Well, I think you can also convince yourself that even though in your head you're like, this is a kind of a big deal, but you'll try to downplay it a little bit, especially in the beginning. And if you really like the person, you're going to downplay it, and then you're going to try to justify as in like, if it happens again, we'll have that conversation.
Yeah.
I think, to me, what it comes down to, and I've broken the rule here, but like, what are you dating for? Are you dating to get married? Are you serious about it? And I think that depends on your circumstances in life. Like, if you're in your early 20s, you're probably not thinking, I need to get married soon, because you think, oh, I have my whole life ahead of me, I have my career. But if you're in your like mid to late 30s, you might look at that a little bit differently. And think it's a cliche that people that are older, like, seniors that are 55 and older, they tend to get married really quickly after dating someone, because they know they don't have that much time and they've kind of got their life figured out. They know what they like. Whereas someone who's younger is probably like, we'll just go have fun. I don't need to think about it. I got responsibility. So it's really easy just to be like, go into the honeymoon phase, and we like each other. We're cute and fun, and we like the same stuff.
Or that honeymoon phase, it's easier for that honeymoon phase to last longer.
Yes. Yeah. And there's not so much to like, we have these responsibilities as a commitment we got to make to each other. But
you're not asking yourself, where is this going, as early as you would otherwise.
Right. But nonetheless, I mean, I think it's still, I would agree with people that are older that if you know what you want, you better realize that pretty soon. Again, I am very much guilty of prolonging a relationship longer than it should have, just because I was enjoying the experience more than just being like, nope, this wasn't going to work out. But that being said, I would agree with someone who says, figure out what you like, understand what you're doing there. Now, if you are totally on the boat of I just want to have fun and not get married, then you do your thing.
Yeah.
But if you are in it to like, you want to get married, then don't waste that person's time by just being like, well, let's just go and we'll figure this out later. It's like, no, maybe you should sit down, think about it, talk about it.
What if they're really good at cuddling?
What? Cuddle.
There's actually a company that
Your eyes are closed.
cuddles.
What?
There's actually a company that cuddles
Yeah, I saw that.
you.
Yeah.
It's like
That's not a company. It's a brothel. And I've heard of that. I've heard of that, and I still refuse to believe that it's like on the up and up.
yeah, it's weird.
I've never heard of this. So what is the premise of this company?
I forget. I saw it on TV a long time ago. It's this lady that started this company where she comes to your house and cuddles you for $60 an hour.
Yeah.
What?
So
she climbs in bed with you
Yeah.
and hugs you from behind.
hey, you
Yeah.
can be the big spoon if you want to be. I'm paying you $60 an hour. I'll be any spoon I want to be. No, so here's the
Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, so here's the I don't know who the beggar is in that situation.
Yeah.
So here's the argument from that person's perspective. Hey, you pay for a massage. What is that massage? It's a physical thing to make you feel relaxed, make you like relieve stress, whatever. Cuddling can be a very comforting thing, and so why not? Okay, I get that. But in the reality of it, if you're a man and you're paying for a woman to come to your house, get in bed and cuddle with you, I doubt you're like, oh, I don't want this to go any further.
Yeah.
I definitely, all I want is a hug.
And what?
Yes.
Yeah. And what if I pay you $500?
Yeah, or just $70 an hour. So I am very suspect of it. Although I'm sure there are a few individuals who can say they benefited from it or whatever. But yeah, anyways,
It cleared the chakra.
yeah, that's actually what the cause of my last breakup is. She just couldn't understand that women pay me to cuddle with her boyfriends.
You're a gigolo.
You're a gigolo.
Gigolo.
I was just gonna say, does anybody in that room that I'm looking at on the screen,
Let's watch porn.
does anybody believe in
Aliens.
I already know the answer to this, but love at first sight.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
I know Cody does. Cody, what are your thoughts
No.
on love at
Don't.
first
Do you
sight?
really?
No.
It's
I
not.
would be the most surprised by that.
Dude, I don't believe in love after 3 years.
After 4, though.
After 4, you're pretty good.
So I can get back to your question, but love at first sight, I will continue to hold the position that I've held for years and years on this, which is if anyone says I believe in love at first sight, all that they're actually saying is I don't think love means very much. What they're saying is I believe love is the same thing as an erection.
I'm basing love on what I see.
Yeah,
There's lust at first sight.
well, but that's exactly. But that's what they're confused about. Is you certainly are demeaning to love when you make it only represent what is physically able to arouse you. Because I could see a beautiful girl in a very tight dress, and say, "Hey, like I really want to touch you," because based on what I see, that's all I'm able to know right now. I don't know the depth of your intellect, your philosophy on life, and I would hope that knowing those things are incorporated into what love is. But what I do know is that I really want to smell your head, and so it's a funny way to smell your hair.
I really want you to run for politics one day, and I just want to take that soundbite and just rewrite it over and over again.
Yes,
That's your grab him by the...
yes, exactly. Yeah, except that I know I'm being recorded. Meaning like based on what I see at first, there's a lot of things I can deduce, a lot. But love hopefully means a bit more than those things.
Right.
So-
So what you're saying is the people who believe that had that reaction at first sight, and then also happened to end up together in the long term.
Yeah, or it's just a nice romantic notion that is fun to say and think about.
Well, I mean, I would like to think that, but I think that there are people who actually believe that it is a legit thing.
Well, in the same way that people who say I have no regrets, which is in a previous episode we talked about, but it's like saying like, oh yeah, it's nice to say that, makes you feel good. It's like a very romantic notion. It's very storybook Disney-esque. But in the end, if you sit someone down who really believes in either love at first sight or having no regrets, and you ask them certain questions, that position
It's easy
disintegrates.
to fall in.
Right.
It's just things that people say. Like love at first sight, it's absolutely impossible. It's just like there's like I'm sure there's like a scientific way to prove that.
Yeah.
Well, how you define love is probably the problem with that. But
When you're hard.
well, all right. First, all right, Cody, elaborate. What do you mean?
Dude,
by
I'm
that?
in love with so many people on the internet and the mall
And the librarian.
Librarian.
Oh man.
just naming places and then my librarian.
The freeway.
No. Here's the question: has anybody here? None of us believe in love at first sight.
Medical pamphlets?
Yeah. But has anybody here been broken up with?
No.
Cody, you have?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah.
What's her name? Let's go find her.
Oh, man. Sorry, no, I have two.
Where does she live? What's her address?
I have two.
You have two?
Funny story, yeah.
You've been broken up with?
It was like not really a relationship, and it was like right after high school, and like you guys probably don't even know who she is. You guys don't know who she is. It's only a few months, but yeah, she broke up with me. But here's the funny thing: is no joke. As bummed as I was to be broken up with, especially by this girl, whatever we had for dinner at her house
I remember you telling
Oh
this
yeah,
story.
you told us this before.
was
Yeah.
doing such a number on my stomach, and I felt like a balloon. I felt like, you know, like in What's Her Face in Willy Wonka, she turns into like a raspberry or whatever it is, and she's just a
Blueberry.
yeah, blueberry. Yeah, she's a sphere. I felt like in my mental mind, that's what I was. She could have
Hindenburg.
she could have just blown, and I would just float off into the wind, like I love you. Like she could have popped me, and it would have been a mushroom cloud above Ventura County. It was no. I in my mind, I was like, lady, just say it and let me get the hell out of here. And like no joke, it was like pains, like bubble pains.
Oh, I know the sharp pain.
Yeah, and like I was like doubled over. And and looking back on it, I'm like, this girl must have thought that she was just breaking me in half. She must have thought this guy
taking this so hard, you know.
Thank God I'm breaking up with him, because this guy was way more into it than I thought.
You're just all, oh.
Yeah, no, like literally, she was like, yeah. Good thing it wasn't my chest, but it was my stomach. Yeah, she must have thought like, holy cow, this guy's taking this hard, and I was just like, yep, okay, oh yep, I get it, okay, and just like I pat her on the back and like jumped in the car, and no, I kid you not, I'm surprised the windows are still intact to that car, because it was like I
Mount St. Helens.
I hotboxed that car in the worst way possible. And I was so relieved that I didn't even care she broke up with me. I just was just driving around town,
Just
all
relieved,
playing my music, just all happy.
Next day, tears.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but so that was the one time I got broken up with.
Cody, did your experience happen like that?
Had the exact same way. I had hot tamales, and it did a number on me. No.
Yeah, he's not for real.
I don't eat hot tamales.
What did she say to you?
I don't know. I've been broken up with a couple times, so it went along the lines of
What are their names?
What's their address?
7-7.
Oh, I know exactly where she is.
This house. I don't know. Yeah.
What, you
I
didn't
don't recall. Well, I know. Yeah. Okay. So now it's come back to me.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, jerk.
It happened in front of their house, and I remember being so like shaky and like getting into my, because before that I had planned on going to get a haircut.
Man, just
And-
now you remember too many details.
yeah, just living your life, just getting haircuts.
One of those mid-morning dates.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Gotta go on a quick date.
Yeah, because
Get my haircut.
I was planning on going to the DMV.
I can fit you in between 10 and 11 a.m.
Take my driving test. Well, before that, because I was going to get a haircut, but my dad called me, and he was like, "Hey,
I'm breaking up.
we got to talk." I'm breaking up with you.
Dad?
I thought you'd never ask. I said, "Yeah, that's fine." But he told me some things that were alarming to me, so I drove over to her house on the way to get the haircut. I forgot about the haircut, and I confronted her about that.
Wait, God in heaven, you can't just gloss
Yeah.
over that.
Dude, our minds are racing
Dude.
right now.
Wait,
I know about this.
I was just
You know
I
that?
was just gonna say Dylan has to know, because you didn't bat an eyelash when, because you said that. I looked at Dylan.
Well, no, I know
thought
Cody too well.
everyone-
I'm not surprised by anything he says anymore. It's not like, what? I'm like, it's Cody. It's just, everything's a
Wait,
surprise.
so your jeez Louise. So your dad called you and told you something about your girlfriend,
That's right.
and it, whatever it was, I don't want to know, made you get in your car, forget about your haircut.
Yeah, my hair was really long.
Yeah,
That was
There
the
was
worst
big-
part of his
big
day, is missing the
sacrifice.
haircut.
I
Go to
thought,
her house.
Normal Saturday. Just need a haircut.
just flowing in the wind. Okay, all right. So
Yeah. So
you get to her house.
I get to her house, confronted her, and it went exactly how I thought it would go. I said, "Well, okay, I guess that's it." and I got back in my car and remembered I was going to go get a haircut, so I continued to the haircut place, and I remember walking up to the check-in area, whatever it is, and like telling them I like a haircut, but I was still so shaken up and like in shock. Like the person talking to me like was like confused like how like why I was reacting that way. I could barely like speak.
Dude. Like this
Wait, hold
tweaker
on.
wants a haircut.
Wait, so
Like what do you want? What kind of haircut do you want? I was like,
This is
mohawk.
Sam's.
Anything, just cut my hair off.
Cut my hair off. Cut my neck too.
yeah.
Cut my jugular.
Wait, so it sounds
This is a McDonald's.
In that case, I have McRib.
It's not in season right
totally normal. Totally normal.
Total flip flop.
now. In that
Well, in
case,
that
I'll have
case,
a McRib.
I'll have a McRib.
It's a special occasion.
in that case I'll have extensions. Wait, so but it sounds like you broke up with her. You went to her house, said these things, and said, "Okay, I guess that's it."
It does sound that way. Yet,
I think
God, Cody, this is supposed to be a story about you getting broken up with.
Wait, why did your dad know?
Lucas,
Well, no.
that's exactly what I was trying to
Can you give
avoid.
any vague details?
I don't know if I
about
want vague
what
details
happened?
here.
it involves living with people that I did not know about.
Oh.
Okay.
And of course, your dad would know this.
My dad would know this because he worked at a place that had a coworker that lived in the same area.
Okay, gotcha.
Gotcha.
Jeez.
Yeah, weird time.
That
Well, here's another. Well, I don't know, first of all, has anybody else been broken up with? Anybody else? Speak there. Speak now?
No.
speak now or ever.
I've been friend zoned.
Well, I think we've all been kind of to
But
some
that's
extent.
before you're able to be broken up with.
Yeah.
I've kind of been broken up with. Like it's on the fence. First serious girlfriend. I did the whole we should take a break, do that thing, which I kind of knew it wasn't going to work out anyway at that point.
Yeah.
And then she officially ended it. Said like no, like this is over. But I was the one that I had the metaphor I always use, which is kind of morbid. I always say like I loaded the gun, but she pulled the trigger, type of thing. So it's kind of like it was kind of like a half.
As long as that stays a metaphor.
Or
Or an analogy, not a metaphor. But, yeah. But back to the question I asked you, Josh, initially.
What was that?
How do you get over a breakup?
You get a shaman.
We're gonna go with that crap again.
Ayahuasca.
You do 20 milligrams of ayahuasca. You lay back. And you let the universe dissolve in front of your eyes.
On a
you're
bed of
talking about.
shrooms.
On a bed of shrooms, and you just eat your way out of it. Yeah, so in the room, I probably have the most experience with the dynamics that take place during a breakup. And what I've learned is not to make long-term decisions on short-term emotions. Meaning,
There's a phrase for you.
yeah. Meaning it's really difficult to assess like what you truly do or do not want based on your feelings for another person. Like there have been times where I've broken up with someone and really regretted it and thought maybe I made a mistake. But then it's like, well, hold on. Like I'm the same person I was when I was with that person. Like why the sudden flip-flop?
Mm-hmm.
Is it based out of fear? Is it legitimate? Is it just like the sudden panic of a potential mistake or regret?
The peyote wearing off?
Is it the peyote wearing off? Which is what you do when you can't find any ayahuasca. And so, because you break up, and it's really easy to look to the past with rose-colored glasses and miss someone that you were really comfortable with, and now you are in this unknown territory. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, oh, I want you back, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's why that happens a lot. And couples, and some couples that I'm sure we all know some, go through those cycles. Oh, they're the on and off again couple. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why that happens, because one person never wanted it in the first place, so they're willing to accept the person back. And the other person isn't happy when they're with the person. The grass is always green on the other side, but they can't wait out that discomfort on the other side. And so I think I'm just good at that. I'm just good at just being like, look, if it's not right, it's not right. And you just kind of grin and bear it.
But it's also, how do you get over it?
Oh, other girls.
Lots of other.
Yeah, just Craigslist.
Just so many Craigslist ads.
Just you posting. You responding to posts. Mm-hmm. You posting
you respond to your own.
You responding to
post
posts that you posted. You meeting yourself at a Motel 6. You arguing with yourself. You holding yourself up at gunpoint. You waking up with yourself. You not remembering your own name. You introducing yourself to your family.
Well, I think that, like, because here's the thing is that I used to be of the mindset I would agree with you guys. I don't know what you guys laugh about at this point. We've always said that, like, what is the harm in waiting to marry somebody when you're dating them, because, you know, it could only be beneficial to you. I still agree with that, but there actually have been studies, I can send you guys these studies, that say that the longer you actually are with somebody, your chances of it working out actually decrease after a certain threshold of time. Now, what that threshold of time is
are you saying without marriage?
Are you saying dating?
That's
or
an important
marriage?
distinction here.
The chances of you breaking up.
So the longer you are with someone without being married,
Yes.
that would be an important point.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a law of diminishing returns when it comes to dating.
Yes. So, yeah, the longer you are with them. So, if we were to apply the logic that say you should just be with someone forever and then you'll know, it's like, well, wouldn't that technically?
No, you gotta get off the pot at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and I think that's the big distinction. Joel, you and I have been through this. You too. Mm-hmm. Like you hit that threshold and you have to make the call. Like, you either going to take that leap and make the commitment or not. Yeah. And, like, that's the big decision.
Right.
That's like the lightning strike moment. It's not, you know, I don't know. It's not like a fizzle or anything like that. It's like you have to actually make that decision. Like, am I actually going to make the commitment?
But
right.
I would also say that the reason that statistic exists is because it's usually one-sided. Meaning, like, you don't, in a relationship that doesn't, like, year after year doesn't end in marriage, there's usually one or the other that's waiting for it to end in marriage. Yeah. And that person will only wait for so long. So yeah, the longer you date without marriage, the less likely it'll end up in marriage, because there's a reason it's going for so long. Mm-hmm. And one person's like, hey, when's it going to happen? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And after a while, that person's gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna wait any longer. Mm-hmm. Or they're finally going to have an ultimatum of, hey, this is either gonna happen or it's not. It's not? Okay, I'm out of here.
Right. Yeah. The percentage of both you know, parties in the couple deciding marriage isn't for us, but we're just going to stay together, is a pretty small percentage in our population.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think when we're talking about, like, when you date someone for an extended period of time, whenever that moment is, I understand human beings are just prone to do things they shouldn't do because it makes them feel good, be it the honeymoon phase or whatever it is.
I had McDonald's last week.
Yeah, exactly.
Number one, Big Mac.
But it's like getting married or making it official or making that leap, making that commitment is kind of a scary thing, because it's like, wow, this is a big deal. This is like the real deal is really happening here. So people like to prolong that as much as they can. But it's like, you better be sure. You better be sure. And if you're not sure, and there's always going to be uncertainty in marriage or the full commitment, if you will.
Or in anything.
Yeah, or in anything. So people tend to prolong that as much as possible because they're just like, I still don't know. It's scary, and who knows what's going to happen. But I'd say for me, on minor things, like, I mean, me and my fiance, we dated for a year, but I knew 6 months in, I was like, yeah, she's the one. Because, ironically enough, because of my previous relationship, I had spent 2 years with that person and had a great time, good chemistry.
Went camping.
Yeah, did that too. Yeah, still cool chick. But at the end of the day, it was like, this isn't going to work out. Made my decision on it, wasn't going to happen. So when I started dating my fiance, I was like, I don't want to waste 2 more years of my life and then get to the end of it and go, you know what? Sorry, not going to work out. I better sit down and really figure this crap out. I don't have the time anymore. Now again, maybe that could have been applied to the other girls. I don't know, like in theory, if you will. But I think there is obviously more to it than just like not every connection's the same. And I think my connection with her is much stronger than it has been with the previous relationships. But it's just something where you're like, I need to sit down and really think about this earlier on than just let's date for a year or two and then I'll decide. It's
So
like,
you're saying that with the previous girl, you never sat down and said, I'm really going to think about this? Is that the difference?
Maybe not to the point where it was like, we need to be serious about what it is you value in a relationship. What do you want out of it? And I think when it comes to the previous relationship, we did talk about some things that were like deal breakers for us. I was like, we need to overcome these things or else this isn't going to work out. And they basically said, yeah, like, we'll give it a shot. I don't want it to end. Like, let's not cut the cord right now. Let's see if we can try and make it work. So gave it more time. Wasn't happening, of course. So I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. So let's just call it a day.
So, out of curiosity, I mean, you're saying that you made the decision about 6 months in because you didn't want to waste any more time not making the decision?
I didn't want to waste any more time dating her if I knew that she wasn't going to be the one. Like, as in, like,
Right.
I wouldn't want to I didn't want to get 2 years in and then realize, whoops, sorry, you're not the one for me. It's like, I don't want to waste your time anymore. Like, I already did that once.
But
and it didn't work out.
but that implies that it could have been possible that she wasn't the one for you 2 years in.
Wait, what?
Wait, you're saying that you were with Amanda and 6 months in, you didn't want to get 2 years in and say, this isn't going to happen, I'm wasting your time?
Yeah, too. I mean, that's one of it. That's the part of it. Is that I don't want to waste her time or my time.
Yeah, but that implies that it was...
That's not the only factor.
Sure, but doesn't that imply that 2 years in, if you weren't married, that would mean she's not the right person?
Oh, you mean, so if I get to 2 years now, then suddenly I'm going to think about it differently?
No, I'm just saying, like, it kind of says that it's 6 months in. It's not because you're the right person. It's just that, like, two years from now, you might not be the right person. Like, meaning I'm not, like, I don't know. Cause doesn't that mean that, like, cause if she's the right person at 6 months, she'd be the right person at 2 years, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah, so like, why at 2 years would you break up if she's the right person? The right person. She'd be the right person at 6 months. She'd be the right person at 5 years.
Well, right, and the reason that I wanted to make that assessment is that I didn't want to wait till 2 years to think about it. I want to figure that out now, not in 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is that makes people go, this person is the person I'm going to marry, or this is the person I can't be with. Whatever it is, I want to figure that out now and get past the honeymoon phase as quickly as possible, because it's just going to lead to heartbreak if this is not the person for me. So we might as well just cut to the chase here and not waste any more time. Again, I'm totally guilty of, maybe it was just a learning experience of previous relationships, is that you go through the honeymoon phase, you spend time with them, you have experiences, and go do fun activities, and you build memories. But at the end of the day, you weren't thinking about whether or not this person was absolutely the one for you. Or maybe you did and you ignored it because you were just like, maybe, I don't know, type of thing.
I mean, I agree with your I mean, I had that same mindset too, where if I was going to date somebody, I would want to. The intent would be, I'd want to end up with that person forever. And I would like to have known that fact as soon as I possibly could.
Right.
But at least in my case, and I'm not saying, I'm not like the golden rule. I think it is different for everybody.
Yeah.
In my case, I just felt like 6 months was too soon to really know that fact.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
But you knew her beforehand.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say, for context, I did know my fiance for 7 years, and we were good friends before that, so I had a lot more history to it. So, in theory, it was 7 years and 6 months. I mean, we're dating, of course, but like, there was a history there already. That
Has she seen you naked?
Josh, come on.
Because you need to lock that down before she sees you naked.
Before that happens.
Talk about check box.
We need to get to the
number
wedding
one.
date right now.
How many moles you got?
Too many. There's just constellations everywhere. But yeah, again, for context, yeah, there was a history there already. But nonetheless, I think the rule still applies, which is people, when they date, they need to start looking at this as like, if you're a person that just wants to date because you just want to have fun, okay, you better be upfront with the other person about that so you don't waste their time if they want something else. But if you are somebody who wants it to be something more and you want a serious relationship, then I do agree that you should give it time to really kind of flesh things out, especially if you don't know the person. It's like if you just met them and you started dating, give it some time. But you should be really upfront about what it is you want out of the relationship to avoid a breakup. Because obviously breakups suck. They're not fun. They're not good for anybody. And it sucks for families too, because they get used to the other person. It's like suddenly they don't see them anymore. I mean, how many girls have we dated that we've all become friends with, and then we just don't see those girls anymore? And it's like, well, and we're all kind of like side friends with those exes to some extent. Like, we all know each other's exes, and they're like, like cordially, like we kind of like see them still. And there's nothing weird about it. It's just like, that's just what happens. But it's like, I would hope other people can learn from that and say, let's make that group of exes smaller.
I see my dad's ex all the time.
Sure. Oh, it's your mom.
For context, for those who didn't understand.
For context, she gave birth to me.
She gave a bird to you.
Yeah. And I'm like, Mom,
Where's the bird?
all right, where's my bird?
Bird.
I think that's it for this episode, guys. This was interesting. This was eye-opening.
We learned a lot about Cody.
We learned a lot about Cody, didn't
And
we?
you're going to find out a lot
I'd
more.
like to learn more.
I feel like I got to call my wife, guys.
I'll talk to you in private,
Explain
Joel.
everything. Well, for out there, all you folks listening and watching, you should subscribe to the YouTube channels.
All of those folks out there washing
Washing.
their bodies.
Watching our
bodies,
podcast.
Sexy like.
If you're bathing while watching this, we appreciate
You
it.
should do it. But if you don't want to do that, then maybe follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, iTunes, SoundCloud, and then we'll see you guys next week. Okay, thanks. Bye.